Hey D, how you doing today?
How you doing, man? I'm good.
I'm doing good. We talked to Coach Boynton last week, and he kind of talked about the time that you came into his office, asking to try out, be on the team, and he
Mhm.
kind of had to turn you down initially, and then obviously later on you did get on with that whole open tryout thing. Can you kind of? I'm sure you were nervous when that was all going on. Can you kind of give us your side of that story? You going in there and talking to him?
Yes, sir. I knew when I came to college that I wanted to play basketball. So, finding an opportunity for Coach Mike to, make time to even talk with me was a good opportunity to me. So I tried to take advantage of it. And, just going in, I wanted to, of course, see when I could try out or if I could try out potentially. But yeah, I was just ready to meet Coach Mike and see when I could try to make the team.
And then obviously you probably have the busiest schedule out of anybody.
Yeah.
Um, Can you kind of, is there a day that stands out as kind of harder than others? If so, can you kind of walk me through what does that look like? What time do you normally get up? Kind of what's your schedule?
So I usually get up around 6 a.m. I'll probably shoot with Avery, Chris, and one of our GAs, Dallas. We like shoot at 7. I would lift at 8, go to study hall from 9 to like 10, and then I would try to get some food before work at like 12. Then from there, it's work from 12 to 10.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next question is coming from Chris Becker. Go for it, Chris.
Hey D, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. In just a short time on campus, what have you seen from Cade Cunningham, and what makes him so talented?
Cade is very, he's very bright. He's smart, on and off the court. He's ahead of his time. I think I see him as he's a freshman, but I see him as a upperclassman.
And you've gone to play with Ice for a couple years now. What have you seen from his growth from last season to this season already?
Ice grows every day, man. Ice is a different guy. He's shooting the ball better this year, and just have to show you soon what else he's improved on.
Awesome, thank you, D.
Yes, sir.
Next question will come from Danielle Dwyer. Go ahead, Danielle.
Hey Dee, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, good. So we talked with Coach Boynton last week, and uh, your story just really sticks out. I just have to say I really admire just your tenacity, your willingness to want to do all this.
Mhm.
He mentioned that your mom was struggling, which is why you kind of picked up the job because of COVID. Is hard times on a lot of people. When you approached him about that, and he didn't, he made you feel welcome, or like you were still going to be a part of the team no matter what you had to go through. What was that like for you? How important was that, or what did that mean for you to know that you just had his support, even if it might mean that you might not be at every practice?
It was very important, and it was a big moment for me and Coach Mike, and I knew Coach Mike was a good guy coming in, and it just showed me how much more, he was like willing to allow me to have another chance to achieve my goals, so to say. So like he's a great dude, man. I couldn't ask for a better coach.
What is it about him that has helped you grow, not only as a player, but as a person? Because I feel like he's such a role model to all of you guys, not just your coach.
I feel like the fact that he treats everybody the same, he from the managers up to the highest paid guy in the organization, he treats everyone the same.
Last real quick follow-up. Is it hard for you to like balance this schedule? Do you get sleep? Is it hard for you to kind of like keep yourself rested, keep yourself healthy, everything that maybe some of the other guys, it might be, I don't want to say easier for them to do, but
Yeah.
their workload may not be as heavy as yours. Do you find that to be a challenge to keep yourself healthy and in a good place?
It's a challenge. Some days, I wake up and I don't feel like going to work or feel like calling in, but I I know what's ahead and I know what I want to do in life. So, I just kind of remind myself of, the things I want to achieve and, just give me another set of energy, to keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from Frank Bonner. Go for it, Frank.
Hey, D, good to see you.
Good seeing you too, man.
With how things have been because of COVID in terms of, social distancing and all that, plus you working as much as you are, how has it been trying to establish those relationships with this year's freshmen?
I feel like we bonded, we got close real fast. I can say since we first started, group texting and things like that, we were all close and just the guys that I'm with, they're real cool, real laid back guys, and it's easy to connect, with guys like that. They're willing to work every day and coming in with great attitude. So you can respect that, and you look forward to building with guys like that.
Now, looking at what Keelan and Caleb were when they first got here last year versus the maturity that they have now, what have you seen out of their growth?
Those guys, they grow every day, man. From in the weight room, they picked it up a lot, and even in their games, so they both are still growing and have a lot of potential.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
The next question coming from Marshall Scott. Go for it, Marshall.
Hey, Dee, thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
You kind of mentioned, the story of you, going to Mike and telling him that you needed to work. Was there a point in that whenever you found out you needed to work that you thought maybe your basketball career was going to be over there?
Yes, sir, for sure. When I told my mom that I was going to, potentially help out, she just wanted to make sure that I was doing what I wanted to do, and I was telling her, I would stop playing ball, in order to help her out and, to potentially help myself out moving forward. So, yeah, I thought I was going to be done playing ball.
Gotcha. So you work at Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. What do you do there?
I do a lot of stocking, and loading trucks and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And what do you want to do post college? I think I saw coaching sciences was your major listed on your bio. Is that something you do want to be a coach when you get older?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, D.
Yeah, no problem.
Again, if you have a question for Dee, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll get you through to Dee. Anybody? Danielle has follow-up. Go for it, Danielle.
I'll ask a different note question, but we talked with Coach Boynton last week, and I asked him about Rondell Walker because he went to PC West. He's from the area. I covered him in high school. He mentioned that he's one of the top defenders on the team right now, even though he's just a freshman. What have you seen from him that has kind of stuck out to you maybe so far, just in his transition to college ball, and then what sticks out to you as far as his defensive skills go?
His energy, you have to be willing to play defense. A lot of guys can play defense, but they don't, look forward to playing defense. And I feel like Rondell looks forward to playing defense. With his size and his length and his speed and quickness, that's good attributes for him.
What is it about this team that sticks out to you the most, maybe than any team you've ever played on before, or that just makes you more excited to buy into this program with Coach Boynton and to be a part of this unit?
I feel like the things that we're going through together, are making us closer. So that would be a thing that something that I feel like that will make us better and like a different kind of team compared to last season.
Is there any area of your game that you've been specifically focusing on that you wanted to improve in heading into this year?
Yes, ma'am. I believe we'll be my catch and shooting ability, just playing away from the ball and being able to, make shots when I'm open.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other last questions for Dee? Dean Rule. Go for it, Dean.
Hey, Dee, we talk a lot about you off the court, but on the court, is there something you're looking forward to, doing this season? Is there something you've been working on over the offseason you want to see transition into play? Is there a personal goal you have going into this season?
I just want to help my team win as much as possible, in practice, at the games, whatever I can do to help my team win. That's my goal.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Dee. I appreciate you joining us, and we'll be right back in just a second with Isaac. Recording for everybody. So fire away, everyone. Raise your hand, and we will get you queued up for Isaac Likekele. First question looks like it's coming from Robert Allen. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Isaac, I wanted to ask you about the last time we saw you in a real game. It was going the length of the floor to win the game in Kansas City against Iowa State. That's had to fuel you and had to keep you happy as far as basketball competition for a long, long time. What did it do for you in the off season, hitting that basket and being the last memory of last season, being that play?
It really just made me go out on a happy type note, because those guys that graduated, them was real life like my brother. So, it was just good that our last memory together was us smiling and not us, looking sad and crying going off the floor. And then it also driven me in the offseason to really work hard and want to win.
Something else I wanted to ask you about with all the talent coming into this program, and you're a guy that I think is an ultra talented player, and I think you've proven that. But you want to play along with those guys, but you also want to maximize yourself. Talk about that mindset, playing with the new talent, but also the pride of, hey, I'm pretty good here, and I'm still going to have a pretty good stick in what this team does.
I'm a guy, so I wasn't really never worried about that. I'm not the type that can only just do one specific thing. I'm a versatile player, so I feel like, the better players we got, that's really an advantage for me, because at the end of the day, all I want to do is win. That's the most important thing. It's not about necessarily just me showcasing what I got, because past 2 years we've had the players, we've had things like that, but why would I not want a talented team so I can come in here and win? If that means me giving less is more,
And our next question from Danielle Dwyer. Go ahead, Danielle.
Hey, Ice. Good to see you again. I wanted to ask you about just being reunited with Cade. I know you guys have played together before. You got to have that experience with the USA team last year and over the summer. What's it been like just having him back now on campus, officially a Poke, joining you on the team?
It's been great. My guy's a hard worker, and then on top of that, he my dog. So it's fun. It's fun having people that you enjoy to play with, and then also off the court things. He's actually a guy I hang around, we chill, stuff like that. So it was like this. It was really nothing major. It's just like being back at the crib, but we just playing on teams together.
What's it like? What's the atmosphere like so far for you guys? I mean, considering how last season ended, the off season being so weird with COVID, what's it been like so far, just the atmosphere, the team chemistry, all of that. How do you feel you guys are pacing at this point in the season?
I mean, when it comes to competition in practice, that's never a problem. You know, we always compete. So we pacing really well. One thing I can say, I mean, we got, of course, some concepts and stuff like that we have to still learn, and a bunch of strategies that we trying to get down. But, you know, that's what you expect whenever you're playing with a new core of guys. You know, we have a lot of new guys. So there's just things that they don't understand. But one thing this team, you ain't got to ask is to compete. You know, we compete and work hard every day.
And last question, when you see what Dee Mitchell's doing just to still be a part of the team, to help his mom out, taking on that job, also doing really well with school, how much pride do you take in having a guy like that on a team with you? And does it give you added motivation? Does it give you more drive seeing just what he's going through and what he brings to this team?
Oh, yeah, that's my guy. You know, he's been that hard working. You know, even before he had all these hours and these jobs and stuff, he's always been one of the hardest workers on his team. Like I tell people, even my freshman year, debatably on my freshman year, he was hands down the most. But no, between him and Diz and Cam McGriff was the most people in the gym. Like they was always in the gym 24/7. You know, and he's just a hard worker, and it shows up in big moments. You know, like freshman year at Texas Tech, sophomore year where he started at Houston. You know, it's no coincidence. You know, he puts in the work.
Thank you.
And next question from Frank Bonner. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Isaac, how's it going?
What's good?
Looking at this sophomore class, you know, because you guys have a lot of youth, this sophomore class is going to need to have a big, you know, growth. What have you seen out of Caleb and Keelan Boone in their maturity and how they've grown on the court?
I mean, they've came along big time, you know, like we expected. That's the good thing about your freshman year. You got to jump. It's a huge jump from freshman to sophomore year. You know, that's debatably one of the biggest jumps of your collegiate career. So, you know, they come along very well. You know, they still make their mistakes like expected, but they're trying to help lead and they're taking on bigger roles, and it's going to be exciting to see them fill in their roles.
Have you had any talks with them? I mean, you from your freshman to your sophomore year, you had a pretty big jump in your leadership and everything. Have you had any conversations with this sophomore class about that?
Yeah, I had just a little bit, but for the most part, nah, I just let them, you know, just fill it in themselves. You know, I don't want to pressure them too much to think about it or anything. I just wanted to see over time them grow into it. You know, if it just happens naturally, then that's how it happens.
I get it. Appreciate you.
Next question is from Dean Rule. Go ahead, Dean.
Hey, Isaac, how you doing today?
I'm good, sir.
You know, you already kind of talked about D a little bit, but what's his kind of attitude like when he comes into the building, you know, with him being a walk-on? You know, what's his approach any different?
Nah, that walk-on stuff with Dee Mitch is dead, you know. Dee Mitch, he comes in there confident. He works out just as hard. He scrimmages just as hard. You know, he knows he can play. Like, he puts in so much work, so there's no need for him to even shy away from any moments, any drills, any practices. Like, he knows he puts in the work. So he goes out there with full confidence.
Thank you.
The next question from Ryan Breeden. Go ahead, Ryan.
Isaac, so you guys have like a big time collection of some like really athletic guards this year, and that's something that you guys have that not a lot of teams can say they have. How are you guys going to use that to your advantage?
We just gonna play. The good thing about having athletic guards is that we can really go small at times when we want to. Me and Cade, we're expendable from one through four. You know, same for MA. You know, he can go 2 through 4. It's a lot of different things that we could throw out there. So it's gonna really mix teams up. They're not gonna know how to really just match up against us.
Is there going to be a lot of like subbing in and out of guys, keeping legs fresh, since that's some of the depth that you have?
No, I don't know yet. That's the coach's choice. You know, I'm just gonna play my minutes that they give me, and if they want to sub guys in and out over and over, you know, I'm down. I'm just gonna buy into what the system is gonna be.
So last thing would be defensively, would something like press defense be something that you guys would possibly do with that athleticism?
I mean, through certain situations, we threw it out there a couple times, even the past 2 years I've been here. But, it's just certain situations that's going to bring us to see if we're going to press or not. But for the most part, we're just going to stay solid, do what we do.
I got you. Thanks, Isaac.
Appreciate you.
Marshall Scott, you are next.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the time. The Arlington game got announced. Is that a cool thing for guys like you and Cade? You played in the DFW area before, but for it to be in Arlington, is that cool?
Oh yeah, I'm excited to go. I want my family to be there. Sadly, not the whole population can get in, because that would be another story if the whole entire population can get in. I'm sorry. That would be a whole other story if the whole population can get in. But it is what it is. It's gonna feel good to go home.
Gotcha. And the preseason honors kind of got announced. I think it was earlier this week, maybe last week. You weren't an honorable mention. You weren't on the team. Does that give you a chip on your shoulder with how good you've been the last 2 years?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that stuff came out until like literally probably a week after or something. I'm not in it for that kind of stuff. I just let my game talk and my numbers talk. At the end of the day, I just really feel blessed to even be here. Honestly, to even be playing at this college level. I've never expected to be here. I didn't expect myself to be here. Nobody from my city did. I just put in work and God blessed me to be here. So I'm just happy to just step out on the court every night, honestly. So all the accolades and awards and stuff, that don't mean nothing to me.
Gotcha. And last thing from me, Cade and MA, they were working out a lot together this summer down in the DFW area. You were there a couple times too. What were those workouts like, and how big was that for whenever the team could get together to build that chemistry?
It was big time. We built a relationship with MA, a big time relationship with MA all the time that he was there. And, at first it's kind of like we just knew each other already before we came up here. Normally we show up in the summer and start building our bonds then, but we already had one because, he was on Arlington. I mean, the whole entire deal through Corona, just working out, hooping with us. So it was good to have him down there.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
Next question, Grant Ramirez. Go ahead.
Hey guys, a lot of guys kind of say what motivates them for a season is competing for a title, wanting to play on a big stage at the end of the year. As of right now, you guys don't really have that. So I guess what's your source of motivation for the season, and have you found it to be any harder to stay motivated without that end goal, I guess?
Say that one more time.
So a lot of guys say what motivates them is competing for a title, and as of right now, you guys don't have that. So I guess what's your source of motivation for the season, and is it harder to stay motivated without that end goal?
I mean, it's about personal pride. It's about what you would like. It comes down to the type of people that Coach B recruits, and the type that he recruits here. All of us want to win regardless. We're gonna work hard regardless. It's not about just, of course we want to win a national title to do that stuff, but if we can't, that's not going to be our main goal. Our main goal is going to be to just be the best us every day. That's what he challenged us to do, be the best us every day. So us working out 2-3 times a day, that's us being the best us every day. Same thing when we go out there on the court. So it's not necessarily just about winning a championship. It's about being the best you. So if we do, by the grace of God, if we do get eligible for the NCAA tournament, and say if we do end up coming short or anything like that, we just want to look back and say we gave it our all 100%, every day. And then, you could walk away with a smile.
Appreciate you.
Next question, Chris Becker. Go ahead.
Hey, Isaac. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well. So you talked about it earlier with your relationship with Cade before he got here, but since he's been here, what have you seen him and how has he grown in the short amount of time being here?
He's grown as a leader. He's getting more vocal every day, working out hard in the weight room. He's gotten bigger. His body's transformed. And he's just elevating himself as a man, He already has all the on-the-court tools. He works out every day, practices hard. So it's never the on-the-court things. What elevates people on the court is a lot of times it's off-the-court things and little things like leadership and different things like this.
Right. And next topic, you talked about your offseason a little bit with Robert in the first question, but What was the offseason like for you, and what were you working on to, kind of perfect your craft?
Just my all-around game. I definitely want to get better at my second level scoring, more efficient. Mid-range jumpers, mid-range floaters, things like that. Just working on just elevating my game. That's it. Catch and shoot, watching film, different things like that. Trying to stay in the gym.
Thank you, Isaac.
Frank, do you have a follow-up question? Go for it.
Yeah, you mentioned just the culture that Boynton has created and bringing in his guys. You've been here for a few years now. What have you seen in just the building blocks that Boynton has been able to build, through the time you've been here?
It's been crazy. Coach B, but y'all don't even see 30% of what Coach B does for his team. Coach B, he's built a culture here that's just crazy. And personally, me, I can't imagine playing for anybody else in this country. Like that guy right there, he knows what he's doing, and he really it's like he treats us all like we his son. He wants the best for all of us, and at the same time, he breaks everything down for us to be the best.
Do you think just him being who he is the reason why you guys have been able to have the type of guys that you guys have had in the program? Not even just the on the court stuff, but just the individuals you guys have been able to be off the court.
Yeah, for sure. He teaches us life lessons through basketball. That's what he does. Teaches us to be a better man through basketball, which I feel like is key.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ice. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll let you get to a safe drive to Arlington.
All right, my guy. You have a good one.
You too. I appreciate it, Ice. Well, we'll get right to it then. Perfect. Well, Coach, first off, thanks for joining us. And then obviously we got to announce the season opening date in Arlington, a home game for a few of our Cowboys here. It must be exciting to, first off, have a little bit of clarity on our schedule, but we'll let our guys get started here. Robert Allen, you have your hand raised first. I'll let you get us started.
Coach, I was just wondering, because I talk to Dave and John all the time, being on the crew with them for football, and I know the painstaking things that we do in order to broadcast football games. Are you monitoring the football season closely? For instance, did you know Washington and Cal have already canceled this weekend? Tulsa is going to Navy, and when you see these cancellations in football, does it just raise the alert for you as far as what you need to do to make sure basketball season and your team gets to play?
Yeah, I mean, I've monitored it all very closely. I see that the Big Ten's obviously had some issues too. So what I've tried to do is just use those examples with our players to let them know how serious this stuff really is and how impactful, just not being diligent or, kind of letting your guard down, to a certain degree. What we're asking these young people to do is pretty challenging, to be honest. I mean, to just not socialize at all, right? And so inevitably we're going to have challenges. So, what we try to do is just continue every day to preach to them, wear your mask, don't be in large crowds, stick with our group of teammates and coaches as much as possible, and understand that as we get into the season, it's all about adaptability and being nimble this year and understanding, we may be planning to go to, Waco one day, and instead we're going to Manhattan. And that's just going to be a part of the deal. The team that has the best attitude about it, I think, is going to have the chance to have the most success.
Simple question. So far, and where you are with practice, gauging when the opener is, what are you most excited about that you've seen out of your team the last several weeks? And what is maybe the area or two that, man, we got to pick it up here. We got to get going.
I'll start with that because I can't get that one out of my mind first. But I'm not sure if we've shot 1,000 balls in practice so far, and we've shot more than that. If we've missed 500 of them, which would be a high percentage of makes, The other 500, the offense gets the rebound about 80% of the time. So I say that to say we're not a very good defensive rebounding team right now. And that scares me to no end. Not because we're not capable. We just don't understand the urgency. We're actually playing pretty good defense. We're probably better defensively than I'll let my players believe. But you can't be a really good defensive team if you don't rebound well. It's just plain and simple. On the opposite side, our guard play is terrific. You know, quite simply put, there's no one in the country who I would rather have their group of guards over mine.
Thanks. Thank you. And I hope the defensive rebounding gets better in a hurry.
If you got any ideas, send them my way, please.
Next question coming from Chris Becker. Go for it, Chris.
Coach Boynton, how you doing today?
Chris, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Good to hear. So we talked to Isis a second ago. He said that during the offseason he worked on his whole game. You know, what have you seen from him that's changed from last season to this season?
Well, the thing that stands out is he is clearly the leader of our team. It's unquestioned. You know, it's painfully obvious in a good way. He commands our practice. His voice it reverberates throughout the gym every day, and he has a consistent confidence about himself because of the work he put in this summer. He's shooting the ball better. Still not the best thing he does, but he's shooting the ball from the outside a lot better. And because we put so much of an emphasis on him and Kim and Cade both playing in the post, they both become pretty good defending in the post because they guard each other in there. And so I'm excited about his development all around, but particularly his jump shot and his post play.
You know, you mentioned him and Cade going against each other in the post. What's that matchup been like all around the field, not just in the post, but up top and everywhere? It's been
good. I mean, they challenge each other. I kind of rotate him, Cade, and Avery. Ice, Cade, and Avery kind of – there's three of them, and so we always have one on the other team. So two of them, you know, kind of rotate. Maybe Cade and Avery are together one day. Maybe it's Cade and Ice. Maybe it's Ice and Avery. And it gives them a chance to play with one another. And sometimes I'll designate who I want to be the primary ball handler. Some days I'll just let them play. But it's been interesting to watch them all help each other. And I think it was one day I played them together, and the three of them together dominated practice because no one else could initiate offense or stop one of the three of them from getting in the paint every possession. So I really enjoy watching the three of them help each other get better. And then obviously Cade and Ice with their size playing in the post for us has been a great, great advantage.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Next question is from Frank Bonner. Go for it, Frank.
Hey, Mike, appreciate your time.
No problem.
Looking at, you know, you guys having UT Arlington on the new season opener, putting the finishing touches on the schedule with Oral Roberts, how have these last couple of weeks been for you in terms of just the scheduling of the season?
I wish I would be able to tell you that it's over, to be honest, because scheduling in a normal year isn't a fun job to do, right? During the pandemic, when you know tournaments are falling apart or coming together or being moved around from one place to another, you know, accentuates the challenge. But you know, it's part of the deal. We'll have a challenging schedule. In fact, I was on a call today, still working on trying to get maybe one or two other games scheduled here. So it's not done, but we're getting close. And we just got to stay diligent and putting together a schedule that we think will prepare us for Big 12 play, which is always the most important part of the season.
But you having, you know, so many guys from that area, the Arlington area, how big is it? I guess, you know, how exciting is it for your team to be able to start the season, you know, where a lot of those guys are from?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in some ways, unfortunately, it won't be as celebrated, I guess, maybe. I don't have a great word for it, just because, you know, just like us, there's going to be limited amount of fans everywhere. And so they probably won't be able to have as many people there as they would normally be capable of having. But at the same time, the energy, them feeling that they're playing in their hometown, they'll still have that nostalgia. And I'm sure that we'll have a lot of people watching on TV.
My last question for you, going back to Isaac, you talked about him improving his shot making. Obviously, improving your shot making, it will always be a good thing. But with other things that he's able to do so well, getting inside, and you've got Fair and Flavors, big time shot maker. How much do you anticipate, needing Isaac to be that, shot maker from 3-point, or even a little closer?
I don't know if we'll ever need him to be a shot maker from 3. We don't necessarily even practice with that frame of mind. It's important as he continues to get better, right? We're always in a mode of improvement. So those are the things he's got to continue to add to his game. And so I'm excited to see that he's getting more confident in shooting the ball. But he's always going to be a downhill driving, attacking, and now even a post-up guard. I mean, kind of the game is circular. There was a time when point guards posted up a lot. I grew up watching Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland play. Those are two of the best post-up guards. I'm probably dating myself here a little bit, that I've ever seen. And just watching the guys that we have, because of their size, have the ability to play inside, gives them a great advantage. But we'll still leave the 3-point shooting primarily to Farron and Bryce and Chris and Keelan and those guys. And Ice will take good shots when he's open, but he won't be the 3-point shooter for us, or probably a top 3 option for us from 3 this year.
Appreciate you.
Next question from Ryan Breeden. Go for it, Ryan.
Hey, Coach. So you mentioned your confidence you have in your group of guards. What is it about them that makes them so special?
Well, first of all, they're all really competitive. Sometimes I've got to tell them, hey, it's still a basketball game. We have to think and make good decisions. It can't just be about emotion all the time. But the emotion is good because it helps us compete with one another more consistently. But we've got a lot of versatile guards. Avery Anderson is very different than Chris Harris, is very different. Chris Harris is than Rondell Walker. Rondell Walker is very different than Donovan Williams. They're all different than Caden Ice. Bryce may be the most complete guard that we have in terms of his athleticism, shot making ability, ability to make plays for other people, ability to defend. And we don't really talk about him much at all. And so it excites me every day just to watch him go at it. And again, because that happens, we don't rebound very well. And so it's still a concern that if we don't get those guys to understand, if we're going to play 3 or 4 guards together, right, we're still going to have to rebound the ball, right? We're going to need Ice and Cade to be getting 12 to 15 rebounds a game as combined, not each, combined. If we can get 12 to 15 rebounds a game from those 2 guys, it takes some pressure off our inside guys where we don't have a ton of depth.
So with the depth of those guards, is there going to be a lot of subbing in and out to keep guys fresh?
Yeah, it's kind of typically how we play. We always we try to play pretty hard to get after it. Our challenge is, can we play hard enough to get tired enough to want to come out, right? And that's ultimately where you want to get as a coach is, Ice plays so hard for 3 minutes that he's asking for a sub. Avery goes in for 2 or 3 minutes. He plays so hard that he's asking for a sub, and we can get all those guys in. But if you don't do that, then it's hard, right? It's hard to play that many guys if you're not extending yourself. But we'll get after it pretty good from a defensive standpoint.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Marshall Scott, you are up next. Go for it.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for taking the time. In your first year after you got snubbed from the NCAA tournament, you made it a point to really schedule a strong non-conference kind of schedule. Is that out the window at this point? Can you still afford to be picky, or are you just kind of like, hey, anybody need a game on this date? Like, let's play.
Yeah, it's probably similar to the recruiting piece, right? I don't want to panic, right? But we are less than 3 weeks away from starting the season now. So I don't have to panic in the recruiting because I don't have to have next year's roster ready until next year. I do have to have a schedule before we start playing. And so we're looking at every option. I'm working the phones as much as possible. I still want to have an aggressive schedule. I think we'll get there. I think our schedule as is already pretty good. You're talking at on the road at Marquette, on the road at Wichita State, play Oral Roberts at home, Oakland at home, at Arlington, who will be pretty good in their league. And then obviously you got Arkansas in the conference. So with this last game or two, whatever we decide to do with it, it'll strike a good balance for us.
How does I guess the behind the scenes of that work? Is there just a big coach group chat going on, or how does it work?
I wish I knew how to share my screen. I'd show you the spreadsheet of phone numbers of people I need to call every day. I have a list of literally the contact for every one of the 351 schools in the country, and got to just go through it. And maybe this works. We've called a little bit of everybody. We've called Missouri, Colorado. We've called Creighton. So we're working it.
Gotcha. Talking about Avery earlier, he's kind of the point guards, he's the one that's going to be the least talked about this year. But how big can this year be, even if he doesn't get, the amount of minutes that maybe he even got last year, how big can this year be of him just learning behind ice, him learning behind Cade for whenever it is his time to kind of take over that reins as the team's leading point guard?
Yeah, I'll be honest. There's a place for Avery now. Now, is it 30 minutes a game? Probably not. But he's by far the most dynamic defender of the three, right? And so, he's a better defender than Cade is. Now, he's not as sound, and those guys aren't – Cade and Ice aren't really probably going to pick up full court that much. They're probably more half-court defenders with their size. They can do that. But Avery, if he can come in and extend the floor, make it really hard on other teams to get an offense, and get our team an offense and take care of the basketball, he'll have a tremendous value for us. And I can see him playing a big role for this team this year. But beyond this, the competitiveness in practice every day is going to make him better. It's inevitable. As long as he shows up and doesn't want to get embarrassed, he'll improve as a player.
Gotcha. And then last thing for me, this isn't going to matter much. I said it didn't matter much to him. But to see Ice not even get an honorable mention in the preseason All Big 12 things, do you think that's, I don't know if disrespectful is the right word, but he's had some games in his first 2 years where he's really dominated in Big 12 play. I guess, what are your views on him not even getting an honorable mention?
I was honestly a little surprised by it. I think to a certain degree it speaks to the level of play in our league. Even the preseason league order. It's hard to pick one of these teams 10th now. I'm just telling you, you're looking like that team could very well finish second, third, maybe win it. I don't know another league that you could think that whatever you pick as the worst team in the league could be competitive enough to win it, right? And we have a league year in and year out that whoever you pick at the bottom could very well finish, pretty high. So, when it comes to all league, you're probably looking at a combination of things. If guys are going by position, if you're looking at, who's just the most talented guys, what teams have won, who's more proven. I certainly would have voted for him if I could have. I believe in what he is, but I know that it won't affect how he plays, and he'll go out and help lead our team to a pretty successful season this year. That's the most important thing.
You guys, I believe, got picked 7th. Do you use that as kind of hey, I know that we have all this hype around us, but we're still not there yet? Do you use that at all, or is that just something that's there?
Yeah, that's external, right? I don't really play too much into the external. It's not really important to me. I want to know if we're going to be a 7th-place team in practice today. I know what that looks like, and so that's our challenge. If we practice like a 7th-place team, that's what we'll do. But if we practice and put the pieces together like I know we're capable of, that stuff will take care of itself as the season goes on.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
Next question from Danielle Dwyer. Go ahead, Danielle.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you again.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. I wanted to talk to you about, a lot of my questions got taken, but I want to ask you about the Boone twins and just what kind of growth you have seen from them. Being twins, they obviously have chemistry with each other, but just how have you seen that really maybe them come into their own, not just with each other, but the rest of the team, and what kind of growth have you seen from them so far?
Well, one of the things that's interesting is people always assume that twins, especially like them, similar size, that their progress is the same, and it really hasn't. It couldn't have been more different. Keelan, about a year ago, as we were heading into our first scrimmage, was playing better than any freshman on our team. And Caleb was struggling to where I thought I was going to redshirt him. We fast forward and you get through the season, and Keelan's really struggled consistency-wise. Caleb struggled consistency, but Keelan struggled consistency in practice all year and never quite figured it out. In fact, we ended up shutting him down so he could have surgery at the end of the season, and Caleb kept getting better. I think Keelan kind of used it as motivation. He saw his brother kind of maybe getting a little bit ahead of him, and really has worked hard this summer. And he's been as impressive as any one of our returners have been in terms of improvement. And I'm really proud of the work he's put in. He's really brought in to the weight room, to spending extra time in the gym, in the film room. I'm always tickled because as freshmen, I always try to impress upon them the importance of watching film, and they never take that advice. It never calculates. And now as sophomores, several of them will send me clips at night and ask questions or call about, because they understand the importance of it. And so he's been one of the guys that's been most consistent in terms of taking ownership of his improvement and spending that extra time in the gym and watching extra film and asking for, tips in the weight room. And so I'm really proud of both of them, but it's been a little bit of one like a seesaw with them. One kind of gets up and the other one struggles, but they're going to be really good players here for a long time.
And then you had Cannon on staff last year, obviously a year before Cade got here. But now that they're reunited, I know some of the guys have talked about how Cannon's like a big brother to them too, not just Cade. But have you seen a different dynamic now that Cade is on the team with Cannon, and just maybe that brotherhood maybe being stronger throughout the team now with that? Or is there a different dynamic there?
I can't sense that. I can't sense anything unusual now, right? Does Cade go to Cannon's house maybe more than Bernie does? Yeah, probably. I mean, but I hope that's the case. But I know that these guys are all really close to one another, and Cannon doesn't treat. In fact, I think he gets on Cade a little bit more than anybody else, probably because he doesn't want to have it viewed as him showing favoritism. And they're competitors. We talk smack in practice, coaches to players, players to coaches, and there's been a few times that they've gone at each other, and that's healthy. It's good in our program. So I think it's been a really positive thing that they've been here. One of the things that I think has helped is it's given Cade an extra added level of comfort, right? Knowing that if there's any struggles, any issues, he's got somebody that beyond basketball knows, cares about him. Now, we try to emphasize that, but no one's going to love him more than his own brother. And it's pretty awesome to watch. They tend to make sure that they're not on the same side during practice. So Cannon he rarely coaches the team that Cade's playing on in a particular day, because I know the competitiveness between the two of them, not quite like the Boones because they're not twins, but that sibling rivalry does still exist. And while Cannon wants to see him do well, when he's coaching against him, he wants to beat him. And it always helps the competitiveness of practice.
And then last question. You talked about Dee Mitchell last week and explained his story and just the communication you guys have had, not only with him just becoming part of the program, but then having to help his mom out, take a job, all of that. What does a guy like that do for your program when other guys get to see just this work ethic that, I don't want to say they have it easier than him, but their workload is much different than his? What does that do for your program, just having a guy that is taking all that on for your, what does that do for your program for the other guys?
You can say easier. They do have it easier than he does. I've told them the same thing. Because again, on top of him working for 30 to 40 hours a week, taking 19 hours of class, in which at this point right now he has, I'm going to pull it up so I can state this as fact and not speculation. I got grades yesterday. I'm not going to tell you all of them, but I'll brag on him a little bit. Real quick here. Oh, I can find it. So Dee Mitchell is 3 A's and 2 B's in the classes he's in right now, and he finished another class already and got an A in it. So, yeah, he's got it easy. In fact, he's got the best grades on our team. So, and they got no excuses. But my point is, I tell those guys, it's important that they understand life is about trying to find ways to have success. Nothing gets handed to you. Doesn't matter. And certainly not in our program. And Dee is somebody I want all these guys to look up to because, he's ripe for success. It's going to happen for him. I just believe in work. Work wins is still something I live by. And he's a worker. He's got a great attitude. And when he shows up here, he doesn't want to be treated any different. He doesn't act like he's too tired to, dive on a loose ball. And he's gained the respect of all of his teammates prior to this, but it went to a whole nother level once everybody knows what he's going through now.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Next question is from Dean Rule. Go ahead, Dean.
Hey, good to see you today, Coach.
Hey, Dean, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Last week we to carry on from talking about Dee Mitchell. We talked last week about how you told the story of him coming into your office and asking, what he can do to be a part of the team. And obviously he came to be a part of that team on those open tryouts in January. Is there maybe a specific story you have from him trying out, or, was it just you knew he was going to be on the team, or just kind of what were your thoughts on all that way back when?
No, I didn't know. I decided to have the tryouts at like 9 a.m. I didn't know who was going to even be there. So he stood out. My mind was in 1,000 different places at the time, but he was clearly one of the best people at the tryout. But then you got to go through the process. Like, he hadn't planned on being a part of the team at that point. So does his schedule work? Can he be at practice? Can he travel? And, he just obviously worked and helped us and almost helped us beat the eventual national champion runner-up on the road. Then last year starts a game and actually helps us win against who I would argue was our toughest non-conference opponent on the road. And so speaks to his character that he gets, everything. He understands that you don't cut corners. You do whatever it takes to help yourself find success, and he's going to continue to find it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.